You already know what time it is. This is the Certified Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Ginn. This is episode number 1. Kicking it off with a bang with my boy Sheik Kargbo, rapper, producer, businessman. There's nothing this dude doesn't get his hands into, from the DMV to the Bay Area. We talk about hip-hop, we talk about life, and all that and more. So stay tuned. Everything's coming up next. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Sheik Kargbo, SK, Renaissance Republic. What's good with you, man?
What's good, man? What's good? What's happening?
All right, man. So, DMV Zone, currently out in the Bay,
right,
doing your thing.
Correct.
I know we talked about this before, but let the listeners know, like, what led you out to going out to the Bay?
I mean, just came out to the Bay for a breath of fresh air a little bit. You know, the Bay is like rich in music history and everything, so I kind of needed to come out here and see what's going on.
I mean, you're not going to turn into E40 on us, are you?
Nah, I'm always going to be me, wherever. I'm always be me wherever I'm at. But nah, I just need a little switch, you know what I'm saying? Probably experiment with some sounds, you know what I'm saying? From the DMV to here. I just wanted to see how that would sound, mixing components of DMV influences and shit, mixed with, it's just like what's out here, like, you know what I mean? It's like a melting pot for music out here, so yeah, it's cool. And by the way, I mean, I move around and shit. I ain't just moving sitting down. Nah, like I move around and shit, you know. LA,
yeah, I saw you down in LA early this week, and yeah. So you still come back to DC once in a while too, or are you just staying out there for a little bit?
I'm staying out here for a little bit. Like I think I'm dodging winter, man. I think I'm really just dodging East Coast winter.
It's coming. After all those hurricanes, it's most definitely coming. We've already gotten a little bit of snow already.
Yeah. Nah, but I mean, I'm just out here trying to move around. You know, move around, network around and stuff. It's cool. Just stay on the road. That's
what's up. I mean, you know, the West Coast is so deep in talent and opportunity, and
right.
You know, you can talk about how it fell off since the days of, you know, Death Row and NWA and Snoop and Dre, and now you got Kendrick doing his thing out there. But you know, you've always had Mr. Fab and Too Short and E40, all those guys, and so especially out in Oakland. So you know, the music scene's always digital underground. I mean, the list goes on and on. So definitely about that. Let's talk a little bit about you, though. So I'll let the people know I've known you for over 10 years. Me and you go way back.
Way back.
Alexandria, Virginia, way back. But, you know, I remember listening to you 10 years ago, straight out of high school. You know, you were making these dope tracks. You were laying these beats. You were rapping. But you really didn't care about rapping back then. You really just wanted to do the beats, which was cool. But, you know, and we joked about this a little bit ago, but, you know, I always said, you know, you can do both. You have one of those voices that goes great to music, and you can do both. And it sounds really smooth. It sounds like you feel comfortable, even if you're not. But what kind of led you, like, to even want to start doing this? Like, what kind of got you into, like in high school? Like, what made you, like, even begin to think, like, man, I want to do music?
Well, I mean, you know, I've, like, always, like, music has always been a thing, man. Like, ever since in Africa, you know, like, my parents have always been music lovers, you know what I mean? Like, my mom's, my pops used to collect these old African records and shit. So we've always like listened to music, me and my brothers. My older brother actually does music. He does Sierra Leone. He has Sierra Leone music.
Is he still back there, or is he here?
Nah, he's retired. He's here. He's here. He's retired and all that. But yeah, he actually started doing music. And I, as a little brother, I was just looking. and then eventually I picked it up and started making beats and everything. Yeah, I mean, it was just something to do at first, but then it started turning into something like, oh shit, the neighborhood knows. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The neighborhood knows, and like people be asking, yo, you throwing a party? You trying to perform? Like that's how it was, like in high school. You know what I mean? I remember just performing in like house parties from like PG County to DC, Alexandria, just any house party we could find that's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people don't give DC the proper respect when it comes to music, but, you know, even though there's not a lot of huge hip-hop stars that come out of DC, the fandom is there. Like people, you know, fans of music, culture, knowing the culture, whether it's hip-hop or go-go, or whatever the case is, like, you know, DC definitely has a touch on everything going on that's in the music industry. So it's not as surprising to see, you know, you doing big things. And, you know, we've mentioned a few other people, you know, Sly and Kingpin Slim, and obviously Wale, and, you know, all these people coming out of the area. You know, it's always
you got like Chaz French, Internet James.
Oh, yeah.
Of course, Goldman.
The list
like
goes
that whole thing, that whole like vortex, that shit is dope. I like seeing shit like that. Like, you know what I mean? What they doing over there. Shouts out to all of them, man. Shouts out to DJ Kid Marvel.
Yeah, no, I mean it's deep. You know, it's deep, and people don't realize how deep it is. I mean, I remember I can go all the way back even before you were doing music. Question Mark Asylum. Like, who knows about Question Mark Asylum? Like. Hey, look away,
like that's like deep DMV root shit right there. Like a lot of
Chuck Brown, all that stuff. So, you know,
right.
And then you can go back with hip hop and go-go roots. You know, Junkyard Band, Backyard. You know, so you know, DMV has always been rich in music, whether they got the credit or not. You know, so it's definitely inspiration everywhere around here.
Yeah, you just got to stick together a little bit more, though. It's like people be trying to tear each other down in the DMV, especially with the rap shit.
I think that's just DC in general.
Yeah, like I just never understood that. Like, especially coming from, you know, like I could see DC from my balcony. I'm like 5 minutes away from DC. You see what I'm saying? But I just never understood. I got like my homies and shit. Like I would have one from this hood, that one from that. I'm like, yeah, serious? Like, what the fuck? Y'all niggas beefing? Y'all better pass the connect around. Like everybody that got a plug and was up there, It's weird, man.
That's just kind of DC in general.
It got a little bit weird out there, man. I'm not gonna lie to you, but
I mean, DC people are all driven. People are all driven in DC. It's kind of my observation. Yeah, DMV. Yeah, people.
Not just in the whole DMV.
Yeah, no, definitely.
It's just, it got a little, you know what I mean? It got a little funky, man. I don't know. Like,
no, I agree with you. People don't really try to lift each other up. They try to go out for their own, but they don't try to lift each other up.
Yeah, motherfuckers just be bringing each other down. I'm like, man, dog, I gotta relocate just for a quick second.
Yeah, instead of sharing the spotlight, they all trying to do their own thing.
Yeah, everybody trying to. I'm like, that's corny, man. I mean, I don't understand that. Like there's a lot of people that don't consider it the DMV. You know what I'm saying? They just be like, nah, this is just this. I'm like, nah, it's a try. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, it goes even bigger than the DMV. I don't know. Make it a whole East Coast thing.
Right, like dog, like that. That could be a whole movement. Like, you know what I'm saying? The DMV, the tri-state area. Motherfuckers banging records out from every end. Like, come on, man. And the radio needs to start playing local shit. And then you don't play local shit no more. You remember when they used to play local shit?
Yeah, they used to. WPGC, right? Used to have like that, like every.
Yeah, I know. That's where I heard of a Kingpin Slim.
Yeah, that's where they used to like do the whole little.
That's where I heard of a Kingpin Slim.
And they voted up and stuff.
Slim. Right, that's where I heard of a Big G. That's where I heard of Fat Trell. Well, actually, I've actually never heard Fat Trell's song on the radio back then. I'm hearing it now though. But back then, like they don't, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just for that, like I think the radio around there is corporate anyway, so they ain't gonna play on it.
It all is. All the radio around here is corporate. You can go iHeartRadio, you can go PGC, you can go KYS. It's all corporate, and they're all answering them to sponsors around the country, not just in the market that they're in.
Yeah,
so,
I mean,
that's radio in general. You know.
I mean, the radio did anyway. Like, gives a fuck.
Yeah, I mean, the only time I listen to radio nowadays is to and from places. But
You have podcasts that are doing way better than radio stations right now.
Yeah, most definitely. And to get back on subject with you, you talk about digital media, man. Now you can reach everybody, right? Like you don't even need to be.
Hell yeah! I've actually never had that. I've actually never had that mind frame. I never wanted to get signed. Like I really never wanted to get signed. Like as much as everybody has this excitement around it, like I just never understood that. Like I never understood not getting 100% of what I do. Like you know what I'm saying? Like especially because I have the state of mind. Like I produce. You know what I'm saying? I've been producing and I've been rapping and I've been just actually putting up our own money just to get the shit, like, you know what I mean? Whatever. But I just never understood doing all of that and signing to some bullshit thing. And first of all, nobody needs to sign record deals no more. That shit is done. That shit is dead. The record industry, in that sense, collapsed. You know what I mean? Now they wait for the independent shit to be. Right. That's a lot of it. I was arguing with my cousin the other day. I'm like, yo, you see what Chance the Rapper did? Yada. He's like, man, what? Chance the Rapper is an industry plant. I'm like, what you mean? He's like, nah. I'm like, yo, I don't know, man. I don't think Chance the Rapper is one of those industry plant niggas because, one, they don't need to, like, every time somebody will mention who an industry plant is, there's normally some corny shit, nigga doing some corny records or whatever, looking weird and all that. But I'm like, yo, Chance don't do that.
Not at all. And on top of that, if you're industry, there's no way you can donate $1 million to the inner city. Like you wouldn't have that flow.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly. What sound rapper could do that? What sound rapper could donate $1 million?
Yeah, because they owe their label too much. Yeah, they owe their label too much.
And two these games fucked, man. You know what I mean? And even in business, it didn't make sense. I'm like, yo, what? Yeah, I don't even own my publisher. Like, yo, what the fuck am I artist for? I might as well be a slave again. Like,
oh yeah, I mean,
I'm from Sierra Leone, man.
I can give you a perfect example. Remember I had you on the Ambition Lifestyle Rise and Grind Volume 1, right? And
right.
If you go and look on the Ambition Lifestyle SoundCloud page, which I encourage everybody to go look that up on SoundCloud. It's a super dope.
Check that out.
It's actually a pretty dope mixtape for somebody, first time out. I got some really dope artists on there. But there's an artist on there, Jessie Malay. I don't know if you heard of her or not, but R&B star. She kind of switched into fashion a little bit now and, taking a break. She's having a baby. Congrats to her. But
Congratulations.
She has a track on there that a later was published, right? So every few months, I'll get an email, some SoundCloud being like, hey, you got a DMCA notice. This track got removed. And then I'll have to provide proof from the artist before it was published and the label took it that I had permission to use that track. And then they'll republish it again. And then a few months later, and eventually I just gave up. Eventually, now that track, unfortunately, is not available to people on my mixtape. But that's a perfect example, right? Like the label's constantly taking stuff away, right. Whereas the label has more control over your music than the person who actually recorded it. And
I don't know. I don't even understand that shit.
Yeah, that's 100 on that one. Like, there's no way I would ever do it either. Like, I agree with you 100%. I could definitely see how the marketing and the distribution could help, but you can do that on your own nowadays.
Yeah, I'd rather get it grassroots anyway. Like, I like to touch the people. I always say this, man. Look, I'm not I see a lot of artists. They do a lot of shit to. I don't know. I want to put this the right way, right? They do a lot of shit to basically mislead and kiss up to fans. You understand what I'm saying? 9 times out of 10. A lot of these niggas, the people really don't be into the music like that.
They do it to make money.
It's just probably what they represent or what they dress like or whatever the fuck, whatever the fuck aura be around them. But realistically, it doesn't seem like it's about the music in certain areas no more, in certain cases no more. It just seems like it's about how someone looks, how someone freakishly looks. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, most definitely.
I think that's what that shit be doing sometimes, and it's weird. But none of them niggas own themselves, niggas. And you can always tell when certain rappers run into catch a case or something. Then you see how deep niggas pockets be.
Oh,
because financially, business wise, it doesn't even make sense. business-wise, numbers-wise. Like, what the fuck? I'm creating a product and I got to take, what, like $2 out of $10? Fucking crazy. You know what I'm saying? If that's the case, I might as well just went in law school and got a degree and just be a lawyer and doctor. So fuck am I doing rapping? Taking $2 out of my $10. Yeah.
You seem lucky if you get $2, right? Like most of it was less than that.
You'd be lucky.
Pennies on the dollar.
Lucky, David. I'm like, y'all motherfuckers.
They front you that big advance, and then you go all that money back.
Hell yeah, like, you see what Apple, like, you know, I guess iTunes now, if they, in 2018 or 2019, they're going to just strictly, exclusively streaming. I'm like, dog, they planning on raping everybody. You know what the streaming numbers is like? It's bad. Like, niggas don't get paid off for streaming.
You're going to start seeing advertisement in rap songs.
Yeah, I'm like, yo.
People are going to be like, hold up, in the middle of the track, they're going to be like, hold up, this song is brought to you by. Just so they can make some money.
I'm like, what? Like, nigga, anybody, they about to start raping the shit out of rap artists or music artists, because once everything is streaming, and the streaming percentages are low. Mad low. Like, I don't know how many million or billion shit you gotta have to have even a little bit of money from like Spotify or some shit.
So
like,
let's go back to that, because you have a couple songs on Apple, right? You have a couple on iTunes.
Yeah, I mean, I think I have the whole journal. I have the whole Speakeasy experience on iTunes.
So when you upload that and like, let people kind of like little backstage here. So when you upload that and you're talking about getting pennies on the dollar, pennies on the stream or whatever in this case. Say you get a certain amount of like plays, like, do you get paid off that, or is it like have to be like ridiculous for you to get any kind of royalties off of it?
You got to have a lot of streams to get any kind of substantial royalties. You know what I mean? So 9 times out of 10, you just gotta you gotta I mean, it's all really about promo and traffic, you know, and drawing traffic. But really, honestly, I was gonna put that tape out for free. I really was. Like, you know what I'm saying? I was gonna put it out for free.
Well, it is free, right? Can't you just download it off SoundCloud?
Well, it is free. Yeah, you got to. Yeah, matter of fact, it is, because you could just go get it on SoundCloud.
And for the people wondering, we're talking about the Speakeasy experience, and we're talking about actually his LP, his EP, Rock and Roll Voodoo. All those are available on the SoundCloud page. So, and I'll include links to all those on the website and all the different pages that we post this interview on. But sorry, go ahead and continue. I just want people to know where they can find that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely check out the Speakeasy experience, produced top to bottom by myself. You know, about 21 records. Actually, no, 18 or 19 records, I think, and 2 skits. So, you know what I mean? Good record. But yeah, like that shit, like I wasn't trying to tell, like I knew, like, look, I'm very realistic, you know what I'm saying? I'm super realistic. I know I wasn't going to get that a lot of traffic, like not like when Uzi Vert or whoever drops some shit. I'm very realistic. However, but I actually just wanted the people to hear it, and they had a choice to either purchase or, you know what I'm saying, or just play it on the SoundCloud. And in regards to the distribution, I'm distributed by Empire, so I just kind of wanted to see how that process worked. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I just kind of let them just put it everywhere. I just want to see. That was my first time working with them. I just wanted to see how that shit goes.
So cool. Does Empire get a cut of the stuff?
Yeah, I mean, it's like you have a choice between TuneCore or Empire. You know what I'm saying? Well, for me, I'm like, I could do TuneCore. Let me just see what Empire is talking about. Because at that time, I think Fat Joe and them had just went platinum or some shit. And they were distributed by Empire, Fat Joe and Eddie Mars. So I'm like, oh, that's dope. Let's see what's going on. And the numbers were a little bit better than TuneCore, too.
Well, in fairness, that only went platinum after she started beefing with Nicki. But go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, that's hip-hop shit.
There was a little backstory to that one. Nobody even listened to it the first week it was out, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's something. I mean, that's kind of needed a little bit. Pick on the people that's comfortable a little bit.
You're right. That's hip-hop.
Yeah, you got to make niggas uncomfortable. Like, that's just what that is, especially if you're MC and you spit that, you know what I mean? But nowadays, you make a nigga feel uncomfortable, they're going to get emotional and start crying on the internet. So, yeah, man.
I remember when you were back on Sway in the morning and you were going toe-to-toe with, they had you kind of freestyling.
My man Era. Yeah.
Yeah,
My man Kenny Shane.
He totally looked uncomfortable. Like he looked like, and I'm not dissing him at all. Let's be clear, because that's an awkward situation. It's an awkward situation to be on TV first thing in the morning, and all of a sudden you got another rapper you're not really competing with, but you're kind of competing with for that spotlight. And you know, both you guys were on there, and I remember watching it, and I was sitting there like he's legitimate. Like you look like you were just kind of like you were getting your music out there, right? And like he looked like he was legitimately trying to one up you, but it wasn't working. And it was just kind of funny because you were just chill, relaxed. He was like, all right, my turn. Boom, 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 boom. And then he was like,
yeah, actually, I was supposed to go up there for some producer shit. Like, you know what I mean? That's actually what I was supposed to be there for. What I was supposed to be doing there was playing the beats, and then, you know what I'm saying? And then people rap on top of my beats, right? So, like, literally 10 minutes before we were supposed to go on, they was like, look, we have Remo, the hit maker. He's signed by Ludacris. He wants to play. You know, he's a signed act for corporate. Is always going to let the, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, I don't mind. They was like, well, so what that's all you do, make beats? I'm like, Nick, I'm probably a better rapper than a beat maker. Sometimes I'm not. They was like, well, you can rap? I'm like, fuck yeah. Nigga, get me in the room. I could engineer your board if you want me to. Nigga, just get me in the fucking room and put the mic on. And that's what just happened. Literally. Like, I was supposed to be playing beats. I didn't even think about bars. Like, I didn't go up there with special bars. I was just like, I'm about to play some beats, sway going, you know what I'm saying? But then, like 10 minutes before we got on, like, oh, now you rapping now. I'm like, what? All right, bring it on.
Hey, but that's our hustle, right?
Yeah, I mean, that shit, I do that for fun anyway. I do that in the neighborhood or wherever else anyway, randomly. So, ain't nothing. I just actually wanted to showcase beats, being that shit was broadcasted and shit like that. I had some mad crazy beats I wanted to showcase too. And then they stopped Remo to me, like, yo, can I play one of my beats? Because this shit wasn't really hitting for me, like. And no shade. Like his jokes was even. He was making them in the
both of you look uncomfortable to the beats to that point. Yeah.
Yeah, the beats was just like because he was like he was making it in the green room as we were waiting. He was making the beats then. I'm like, yo, you just gonna rush? All right, whatever. Like, yo, you're not gonna give us some tough shit. You're just gonna make like a 2-3 minute beat, whatever. But then, look, regardless of how it happened, like all I need is a fucking a metronome. I don't even need a beat. Just give me a metronome and a time thing. I'll spit on top of it.
I mean, it's all about opportunity, right? It's all about getting your name out there. And I know.
Hell yeah, I didn't mean.
I mean, obviously, I know who you are. Obviously, a lot of people in the DMV, Virginia especially, know who you are. But your name definitely got some publicity after the Sway thing. You know, Shade 45, Sway in the morning. You know, and shout out to them for giving up and coming artists,
man, shout out to Shade,
up and coming artists, you know, that opportunity.
Yo, he just saw me in South by Southwest. He was literally outside. Like we got like he was outside getting a walk into the set with a nice kick stop. And then my man was just like, yo, you gotta check out my man. And the first thing that captured him was my album cover. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, what the fuck? What kind of music you do? I'm like, I do hip hop. Like, but this is just rock and roll. Like, what? And then we was already in the SUV while we were talking. So my cousin just cracked that shit up. He was like, damn, that shit's crazy. He was like, well, y'all should come in later on in the event. You know? I was like, all right, we won't be in there. Because we was outside smoking. And then so in a few minutes, I think we went in there. He was like, oh, I remember y'all from outside. He was listening. And then he showed us to his assistant, and he was like, yo, lock him in for a certain kind of day. And then that was that.
There you go.
And that's and like 2 weeks later, we went up there.
You done South by Southwest what? 4 times now?
About 3 to 4. About 3 to 4 times. Yeah. I like festivals. I be having fun, man. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm not a good network person. Like, you know how they say artists got a network. I'm really not. Like, reason being, like, it's like I still find it weird to this day to small talk. Like, you understand? Like, you know how you trying to like network? You got to do awkward. It's like an awkward thing for me. I don't know. Maybe I'm like
I might know a thing or two about networking, but yeah.
Yeah, it's like even though I know, like, I don't know. It's like, yo, how do you walk up with somebody and, like, I see a lot of people do it, in regards to, for opportunity, you know what I mean? If someone has the opportunity in the city or in the town, like, people be trying to low-key trying to infiltrate their camp a little bit to be part of that. Like, I mean, for some, that's cool, but for me, I already have my own thing. So, but networking is like almost like, I think people confuse networking for kissing ass a lot of times. I don't think, like, networking should be a mutual thing. Well, I've always felt that. I've always felt like, yo, if I'm a producer, you're a rapper that's on or semi-on, like, listen, let me throw you some beats. Don't pay me now. If them shits rock out, like they're doing well, then you know what I'm saying, then you kick back or whatever. But I feel like it's just business, though. You know what I'm saying? But I think, like, now people think networking is just about, I want to join his crew because, them niggas is popping in the city. Nah, that's not what it's about. It's about business.
Kissing ass is only going to get you taken advantage of anyway. Nobody's going to respect the kiss ass.
Right. It's like, yo.
Yeah, they're going to respect you if you're about your business. If you're kissing ass, I'm not gonna pull the curtain back too much, but also as a bartender, it's like your work, right? Like, there's a lot of people I don't necessarily always want to interact with, but it's my job to network on a daily basis, right? And so I go up to each person. It's a business transaction, and you're not kissing their ass. You're giving them something in return. In this case, service. In my case, service. Service, a great drink, a little conversation, and you make people happy. And it's not going overboard, being like, it's about giving them what they need and making them respect you. And same thing.
Exactly. Like, I just like to put in the work, man. I don't really like to try to be niggas' friends and all that. I just like to put in the work, man. Like, if you're a rapper or a producer, whatever the case is, however which way I think we could mutually eat, I'm down. But I think a lot of times, though, people that are really up, like in terms of the music, and somebody like especially people that are popping, it's like they get scared of people networking with them because I feel it too. Yeah, no, not only that. Like, I've had niggas tell me, yo, son, I can't, son, I'm not gonna go on your record. Like, I did, like, made DMV rappers, especially for the Speakeasy or whatever. Like, I had a couple opportunities to get features on. You know what I'm saying? From like the major, I'm not gonna call on it, but like the major players in the DMV. And niggas just begging like, yo, dog, I'm not getting on a record with you, son. Like, because they know if you come on a record with me, I'm like, I still follow the hip hop shit, like, you know what I'm saying, the competitive edge. I'm not friendly if I'm on a feature, unless it's about a topic, you know what I'm saying, like a specific topic. But if it's just on some rap shit, my nigga, you come on my record, I'm gonna eat you up. Like, I don't care. But I think a lot of people don't want to be competitive anymore. They just want to tuck their tail between their legs and just, I don't know, like, niggas don't really want to, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like, even when you be like, yo, I'm paying. I'm not asking for free shit. I don't even know how to ask for free shit. I'm African, man. Like, niggas don't know how to ask for free shit. I immigrated here. Like, ain't nothing free about how I live. So I pay for everything. We pay for everything. So, like, even that, though, niggas are still scared. I'm like, all right, niggas be charging industry rates, and we be like, all right. They still say, oh, they make some other bullshit excuse. Mm-hmm.
You gotta be careful.
But that's why I never wanted to
half the time the labels will shoot it down if they don't like how it comes out.
Exactly, and also that's why I don't like features anyway. Like, if you notice on the Speakeasy, I had 2 features, I believe. 2 features on that joint. Matter of fact, 3. My man Bang, my man Toothpick, and the girl Mariam are new neighbors. And those are all people I know, like, personally.
Yeah.
It's not even that thing of, like, we be just in the studio, and niggas like, yo, hop on that for me, please.
Well, I mean, the neighborhood that we grew up in, well, I won't say grow up in, but, like, lived, like, teenage years type stuff like that. I mean, there were, people on every block trying to, get in the game. So there's no shortage of hungry people out there. Especially, West Side Alexandria, Annandale, Northern Virginia, D.C., Montgomery County, PG County. Like, every block there's somebody who's doing music and not just doing, like, music to do it, like, doing good music. Like, you hear some of this, and you're like, wait a minute, you did that? Like, that's not, like, you made that. Like, and, no doubt, and then you even, like, created, like, then you went on, you got a group of, people that you work with, Renaissance Republic and, And your cousins. Yeah, I mean, family's family, right? You know, you're not gonna just bring them on. Sure. You're not gonna bring them on if they're holding you back. You know, these guys help push you up, and you know.
Yeah, you kind of gotta be blood related to be in Renaissance Republic.
Yeah, I mean, but
I'm like legitimately my first cousin. Like,
yeah, no, and then you talk about marketing, like those dudes are marketing for you. So, you know, I see it online. Mm-hmm. I see them shouting you out. I see them, you know, and then you return the favor. You know, it's not one sided, which is, you know, like you said, networking, one-on-one. That's family, you know, and it's crazy because a lot of people forget that, right? You know, there's a few artists out there that made it big, and then they always remember their roots, right? Like, you know, mention Fat Joe and his Terror Squad, right? Like,
for real, he never changed.
To this day, like the same dudes that rolled with him when he was like 18, right?
Exactly.
I mean, minus Big Pun, right? R.I.P. But like, those were all the same dudes, and you know, same thing I see with you, and that loyalty goes a long way. And if it doesn't make business, it doesn't make sense in this industry. So sometimes you do have to cut those ties if people are holding you back. But a lot of times, you know, family are the first people to support you. So you definitely need that in your life. And, you know, Renaissance Republic, like every time I see somebody shout out, you know, SK as, you know, used to be, and now your full name, you know, it's always followed by Renaissance Republic. And, you know,
like the goal really was to establish Renaissance Republic as the brand. It really wasn't about me. Like, once again, like, I rap and all that, but it's really just for competitive things for me. Rap, I know how, business-wise, I know damn well I'll make 10 times more money as a producer than a rapper. You know what I'm saying? But it's like, damn, I'm going to stun on niggas. Like, yo, I'm a producer, but I still shit on you.
Yeah.
Once again, it's that hip hop, especially if you spit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Especially if you're a spitter, you want to kind of do that, or you want to kind of showcase that you can do it. But really, I thought it just made sense establishing a brand like the Renaissance Republic thing, and then if it's famous, then whatever comes out of that, it's going to be popping. Like, you understand? Like, I wasn't trying to push me up front per se. I just wanted the company to be like a good staple, you know? Then whatever comes out of it, whether it be just beats, rap, or even film, you know what I'm saying? I just wanted it to be like that. Listen, Rockefeller Records is my influence, basically. You know what I'm saying? That's how I kind of wanted to set up, like shit like that. You know how nigga, when you see that Rockefeller chain, you know what it is. Like, when you see the chain, you know exactly what comes with that chain. You know what I mean? That's kind of what I wanted to do with the Renaissance Republic.
No, I mean, you got a good head on your shoulders, and it's always been about that. But everybody has to have a role too, you know. You know, Jay didn't do it by himself. You know, speaking of rock, you know, Dame helped push a lot of that stuff, and you know, there was a number of other people behind the scenes on rock, and I'm not going to spend like a half hour talking about Rockefeller, but you know, somewhat of a historian on all this, you know, myself, like there was a lot of moving pieces in that, and unfortunately, that didn't end very well. Nowadays, I will give Jay credit. He is going back and mending a lot of fences. You recently seen him make up with JayZ. He made up with Dame. So I don't know if they're all. Oh yeah, he made up with Nah, I don't think he made up with Dame. Yeah, there was talk a couple weeks ago. They've been meeting up, kind of like quietly on the side, like kind of not necessarily making up, but kind of squashing it. I guess probably maybe a better way of putting it. Right. Like I feel like Jay's at a point in his career where he's he doesn't want enemies. I think Jay was just trying to get to the bag and then come back. That's just I think Jay the reason for the decisions whatever. I think he was just trying to get to the bag real quick and then come back, because as you can see what's going on with Rock Nation, he's really just rehiring everybody that was at Rockefeller. Oh yeah, I mean, no doubt, you know, but you know he knows. He's just putting everybody back on in their position. Yeah, including with the young stuff. He knows who he can trust. You know, end of the day, right? Exactly. People did him wrong. Yeah, now he knows who he can go to. So, you know, the music industry is funny like that. You never really quite burn a bridge, even though you say you burn a bridge. So, I don't know. Money talks, especially with those dudes. Money talks. Hell yeah. They told you there wasn't rappers, they were just business. Exactly. There you go. They're not a business, man. I'm a business, man. So let's talk about your music, man. So this year was kind of like, and this episode will air in January, specifically January 5th, but 2018. But 2017 was kind of like a transformative year for you. You know, you started off the year. You know, you launched Speakeasy. Zenith was the hot track off that one. The Zenith.
Right.
I'm not going to quote that because this definitely will get an explicit tag if it hasn't already. It probably already has got an explicit tag, but that's all good. This podcast probably is for adults anyway. But I do want artists to be true to themselves, and I will never censor anybody. Let's put that out there right now. Not encouraging you to drop F-bombs all over the place. I do want it to be able to play it on Apple eventually. But, you know, you started off that year, and then, you know, before we get to like what's coming next, like talk me through that. Like, what was the because each album I seen you come out with, you kind of have this theme. You know, we go back to like we talking about Sway, and you were doing Rock and Roll Voodoo, which was dope, and you had like that different kind of theme going on. You had the rock and roll influence, and you had almost like an alternative influence into it. You kind of brought
like a blues, rock and roll, hip hop shit.
You kind of, in my opinion, as a fan, you kind of brought it back a little bit more hip hop, like in the Speakeasy, but it was still a little bit. It was still a little bit alternative, but definitely like your lyrics brought it back way more hip hop. So what was that like? Like where did that come from?
I mean, for real, literally, right? So one of my men, he was already out. He was out in California, right? And then he'd be hitting me up. Like I used to, like whenever I do certain kind of records, I'm like, yo, check this shit out, right? He's like one of them niggas. Like he's like, it's like he's a really like he's also like a hip hop historian, but he's also one of those 90s music heads that embraces the new wave. So he kind of has that good sense of judgment. You know what I'm saying? Because he knows the old and he knows the new. So I would send him certain records. He's like, yo, you send me records that's like they have themes. Like I'm like, what you talking about? He's like, yo, this is like weed smoking music. I'm like, what? Chill out. Look, I was like, I don't make weed. He's like, yeah, dog, for real. This shit is like something that if someone's going through something and they just want to smoke and relax, or if I had a hard day, like I always said this. I made this Speakeasy experience for niggas that got 9 to 5. You know what I'm saying? Like I made that for niggas that got 9 to 5, or if you like, you know, if you like when you any kind of stress, you know what I'm saying? You could pop that in if you really smoke weed. That's why I called it the Speakeasy experience. You know what I'm saying? And there's actually
I don't smoke weed. I still pop it in. So there you go.
Right. So, you know what I mean? Any kind of form of relaxation. Maybe the record is enough to relax. Maybe you might not need weed. You know, but that's the intent.
I mean, it kind of goes both ways. Therapy. Like you got tracks on there that kind of mellow you out, and you got tracks that are bangers too. So, you know, it's a really good mix.
You can have hot songs, club songs that could give you therapy. It ain't always about just relaxed, kind of jazzy music. Nah, you can have club songs that could give you a little bit of therapy. You can be aggressive and still therapy. Well, a lot of people consider DMX's music as therapy, and it's mad aggressive. So.
Sometimes you got to get that anger out.
You got to get that aggression, yeah. That's why they advise you to cry in therapy. So you got to get that shit out, man. And I just thought that's what the Speakeasy was for me. Just exhale and shit.
Now, you took quite a bit of time building that one up. Like, I remember all through 2016, you were like, this is coming. Seemed like it got delayed a little bit, but eventually it did come. Got a pretty good response. I don't know if it was what you expected, you know, kind of being an independent artist. Sometimes you get rocket in a bottle.
I got more than I expected.
Yeah, I mean, you get rocket in a bottle sometimes, and other times it just goes under the radar, and it's good music nobody ever heard of, you know. I can name 1,000 artists, you know, up and down, you know, just the East Coast alone. Music that I hear because I'm in the industry, kind of. That I'm like, man, why do more people not know about this?
Right.
And
I mean, that's just that. That's just what indie artists go through. I mean, you gotta embrace that, though. That's what it's not even about just music. Any industry that you're trying to be independent in, it's like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it don't matter. You can try to be independent in the fucking, you can try to be independent in any kind of industry. It's like once you're trying to establish yourself as your own entity, it's gonna be tough. I mean, it's gonna be tough, and you will get put in a box, but you can't take it though. You can't just be like, yo, nah. That's why I tell people, like, I really drop records when I do want to. Like, I'm not chasing no fame or whatever. Like, I'm a producer really at heart. I'm just rapping to show y'all niggas that I'd rather rap with my own beat than somebody else.
Yeah, and like Chance, like Joey Badass, like all those dudes, you're on your own boss. So you do it when you want to do it. And I've seen so many artists get buried by a label, and then that music never even comes out to be seen. You know, you can look at I'll give you a couple of really popular examples right now. You know, Saigon, when he was out with Entourage, and you know he signed with was it? I might be wrong here. I don't want to say Atlantic, but it might have been Atlantic because you know, and he had this album that just never got to come out because he was working with several producers, and then this credit didn't get approved, and this credit didn't get approved, and all of a sudden, like he had a track with JayZ, and it got removed, and then all of a sudden it came out without it, and later all of a sudden, you know, somebody, I'm not going to say who, somebody leaked the track with JayZ, and then you kind of realize what it could have been, but you know, or you look down south, or even out to Cal. I guess she's out in Cali now, but you know, Snow the Product, right? Like same thing. She got signed to Atlantic. She was super hot coming. All of a sudden now, you know, she just started like really like the last year or so, like dropping new music again because I don't know if she got out of her label or whatever, but. You know, it's like sometimes the labels don't know what to do with you. And then all of a sudden you got these artists that have a little bit of buzz and then they get buried because they never get a chance. And then all of a sudden people forget about you, right? You know, and the great thing about you being your own boss, you remind people when you want to remind people, you know? And
like, come on, man.
And you got
it's like having your own business. Like,
exactly.
Man, you in control. Like, how many rappers that we've seen in history go like platinum and all these things, but like now, like niggas are still like square one. I'm like, what the fuck? What happened to your business? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you got the fame, but what happened to the money? Like, what the fuck?
There's very few rappers that make it on just rapping.
I mean? Right. Like, yo, I don't know. I never really understood that concept, probably because I'm hard-headed and shit. But I never understood the whole big deal anyway. I mean, I guess people want fame. That's the thing. A lot of people don't really want to get on. They want fame. Nah, I don't want to be famous. Like, I just want to, you know what I'm saying, drop some records. But inevitably, if you're good, you know.
If you're good, people hear it eventually sometime. Well, I mean, you hope they hear it. The great thing about social media nowadays is that if anybody hears it, they can tell somebody else, and then they can tell somebody else. You know, it's like 2 becomes 4, 4 becomes 8. Next thing you know, you got a lot of people listening to your track.
Exactly.
But, you know, speaking of music, you were telling me earlier you got some new stuff coming out in January.
Exactly.
Is that going to be
dropping a whole heap of music?
Is that coming out before or after this?
Well, I'm gonna start dropping shit top of the year, like first quarter. I'm not really sure what specific date in January. I just know I'm gonna just start dropping a whole lot of records, starting January. So
that's what's up.
I'm not even sure yet.
You already have a theme, and
I got a lot of records that I'm recording. Is that what now?
You already have a theme and everything for that?
Let's see.
Or is it just going to be all over the place?
It's rare that I'm all over the place with music. There's normally a theme that kind of establishes some kind of flow. But for this one, I just wanted to put out a bunch of singles, you know? Just put out a bunch of singles and let that lead up to something. You know what I mean? I didn't want to come back just with another project. You see what I'm saying? I just kind of, at least for the top of the year, I just want to put out, you know, a bunch of singles, probably till summer, and then probably I'll put like something out in the summer, like a project in the summer or something. You know
because I'll let people know a little about you. Like, you're not exactly a one-trick pony. Like, it's kind of hard to put you into a hole. Like, this is what this artist is. You know, you have a lot of interest and you have a lot of musical taste, so it kind of shows through in your music, which is dope because your music reaches a lot of people because of it. You know, it's not just, you know, hey, there's Sheik Kargbo. Oh man, that's just going to be our, you know, rock and roll like hip hop, or that's just going to be, you know, slow R&B hip hop, or that's just going to be this and that. Hell, your next album might not even be hip hop. That's kind of like the way you go sometimes. So
like it could be whatever. Like people, like, look, I'm my first love, right, My first love in music wasn't in hip hop. It wasn't. It was African music, you know? And so I've always learned how to be in any genre that I wanted to, just because I listen to that genre enough and I know what to do. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of times I just mix it with hip hop. I make hip hop the base and then just sprinkle a little bit of different genres in it. You know what I mean? But I learned that from just being a producer, you know, just producing rock and roll bands, some jazz acts, you know, so like, you know, I mean, a lot of times that I do produce, it's not really hip hop. It's really just some other shit. You know, whether it's from scoring music for movies to just, you know what I'm saying? Just little stuff like that. So I don't know how to be in a box. Like, you know, motherfuckers, a lot of people that claim, that's just my lane. You don't have a choice, because most people just can do one thing. That's why they mean, this is my lane. I'm like, all right, but don't act like you have other options and you chose that. That's just what you could do. That's where your cap is. You know what I'm saying? For me, I don't see music as one thing. Like, I'm never going to make the same kind of album. You know what I'm saying? My albums are never going to sound the same. Literally, they're going to probably be from opposite to opposite. That's just how I like to do it. I don't like to put out the same type of feel twice. You know what I mean? Yeah. I'm trying to get you to experience different parts of music, not just the same shit over and over just because I think it's working. No, I don't. That's not what I don't do it like that.
So
I always like to challenge myself first.
So I've always been of the popular belief, right? And we talked about this. I mean, we go back 10 years, but and it's one thing I've always kind of liked about the way you release your music. Like, I feel like you have to have something that people can bang to make them listen to everything else, right? You know, I used to always, I know you remember because you're into the history as much as I am, but there used to be a rapper named Idea, and he used to win all these blaze battles that they were doing up in New York. He was from Minnesota, white rapper. A lot of people compared him to Eminem, but he was on some philosophical stuff, right? And he was always rapping about interdimensional, philosophical problems with the world, how to make the world a better place. He'd do alternative rock, he'd do this and that. And the problem with Idea was, as amazing a talented individual that he was, and he's another person gone way too soon, but as amazing and talented as he was, nobody ever heard him, right? Like, unless you were a real hip hop head, or unless you were in the industry and you remember those blaze battles and you'd actually go look to see what he's up to, outside of Minnesota, nobody really ever heard of him, right? You have Atmosphere and Brother Ali and all those dudes doing it now, but Atmosphere, Slug, he's been doing it forever, but like, nobody really heard of him, man. And I always used to say, man, if he released one pop track, just one, to get that radio play, his message would have been heard. His message would have been heard by millions, right? Because then everybody would have bought the album. And keep in mind, this is back during the days where people bought albums and CDs, and people would have bought the album because of that one track, and then they would have heard everything else, and realized how deep he was. And the one thing I always liked about you is because Mrs. Officer, right, or Rock and Roll Voodoo, or the Zenith, all three of those, you could pop in without hearing any of your music ever before and be like, damn, that's a dope track. And now all of a sudden I'm like, well, what else does SK do? What else does Renaissance Republic do? Let me go look this up. Let me go look that up. And especially with today's media, you're talking about networking and marketing and YouTube. Like, look, my God, YouTube. You just type in a few letters all of a sudden, and then on the side, after you play that video, you got another related video and another related video. And people just kind of keep flowing into the same path. And now all of a sudden they know all your stuff, right? Like, now they know, oh man, this guy has a lot more stuff out there. And I've always been of that belief. It's about being real to your art, but it's also making sure that people can hear you. And I don't care how talented you are, you're still a needle in a haystack, because now
there's a lot of people doing the same shit. Exactly,
for better or worse. Everybody has access, and while you can make a legitimate career all by yourself, you don't need a label. So is everybody else trying to, and that kind of waters down the product, right? You look at me podcasting right now. I'm one podcast out of how many millions of podcasts now? It's not like 10 years ago where there was only a handful, right? So, you got to get your name out there. You got to make noise. And after that, man, you can be as artistic as you want to be. And that's always kind of been my belief about it.
Yeah, I always think like you have to be equally as artistic with the business as you are with the music. You know what I'm saying? Because like even now, right? So the record I'm going to release in the first quarter of 2018, I'm trying to take advantage of where I am. This is like I'm right next to Silicon Valley. I'm trying to find a new way to release music. You see what I'm saying? Because so now there's a technological way to which where if you were smart enough to find an innovative way to release records, trust me, you're gonna be lit. You know what I'm saying? So I'm out here still. I'm doing my research while doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm just trying to see, like, how can what I'm saying? How can we? I've always said, look, if you make your website right, and you will pop it, and you just make a website, and then you just put a freaking PayPal button on that motherfucker, it's still the same shit. Like, I don't understand why nobody thinks like that. Like, if you just make your website and put your music on your website and just direct traffic to your website for people to buy it, so fucking be it. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's business. That's literally direct to consumer. You can order a record like you order a shirt. But I don't know, man. It's like people don't really want to see it that way. I guess people just, I don't know. But me, I'm like really like business minded. As much as I'm music minded, I'm also business minded. Like I'm very aware.
I mean, I think you can relate that. You can relate that even to politically speaking. People don't want to change. It's an overall type of thinking. You talk about the people. Understand. And I won't take this podcast sideways with the whole political talk, but it's like the same people that want to make America great again, right? They don't want to change the way things have been done for decades and centuries. And you look at the music industry or the film industry. How long did it take them to adapt to a streaming model or to a streaming model that worked, right? Streaming subscription services were out there a decade ago, but they didn't work, and music streaming services like Netflix and stuff, like they took forever to really kind of pop off. And now people are cutting cords. Now people are like, they're ready for it. And you have to, as an industry, you have to be ready for it too. And when you're an artist out there selling your own thing, maybe you release one track for free, and then all of a sudden, if anybody wants more, they got to go to your page and pay the PayPal. Like, there's a business.
Exactly. Model. You got to find
There's a business model. People just have to adapt, and nobody wants to adapt. The old world of advertising is probably dead as well. You look at the way people are making money on podcasts now, right? Like it's all in-stream sponsors, which, by the way, if anybody wants to sponsor this show, contact information will be below. But you
gotta plug that in.
Yeah, absolutely. But that's how the people are making money now. They're putting it in there. They're making it so it's non-intrusive to the people listening to their content or watching their content. But the movie industry kind of figured it out a little while ago with like product placement, right? That Coke can that was perfectly placed on the counter next to their bed, right? Like, oh, there's a Coke can. You notice that, right? The eyes notice it. And
I don't even think that. I don't know. Like, I don't like that. I understand business. Believe you me, if I was a businessman, I would be for product placement in artist videos. But I'm just like, that kind of takes away from the joint. Like, Jesus Christ. I know even in the 90s, there was product placement, but it wasn't so obvious. It wasn't so obvious. I think now it's just like you literally see I would say fans are supposed to be kind of, in a way, I don't know. It's like, to me, it's a little tacky at times.
I think it's supposed to be obvious because it's the only way they can probably, and this is just my opinion, but it's the only way they can probably make money without having so many ads, right? Because what's happening, people are just skipping the ads now, right?
Yeah. I think that's beneficial for the whoever the person responsible for the product is, but I don't think it's good for the artist. Really? Like I don't like this, man. Like I think like the music business, for example. I think the business should occur in the back end while the music does what the music does. Well, I guess now, I mean, they've always been product placement though since the 90s. But I just feel like in the 90s, you don't notice it. Because I guess probably because the music was so good that you didn't even pay attention to whatever product. You know what I'm saying?
I think I noticed it more when people were trying not to do product placement. You know, like sometimes you see somebody wearing a chain or a T-shirt that somebody didn't pay them to wear, and they like blur it out in a video.
Right.
And I'm like, like that's a little tacky to me. Like, what? Just because they didn't pay you, you don't want to show that you're wearing a polo shirt or a Tommy shirt or whatever the case is? Like,
and then you got to put a blur thing on your video and just fuck it up.
that looks even more tacky than somebody putting like, you know, that product right in the middle for no reason whatsoever. Like, to me, that's even worse. But you know, I think in the environment we're in now, everybody's used to advertising in some way.
Yeah. I mean, it kind of feels like people want to be advertised because we got with consumerism. I think people want to be advertised to now. You know
I think people want to advertise to, but because they understand that free content isn't really free. But I don't think they want to like sit through an ad. If that makes sense. Like, you know, you look at all these like the reason why Netflix is so popular, there ain't no ads, right? Like you can binge watch some of these shows and it's done. Like there's no stop to like look at this ad. And if there's product placement, I'm not even gonna lie. Half the times I don't even notice it. If I do, it's because I'm kind of like just something is out of place and it just kind of catches my eye. But
yeah, that's what normally happens. I'm like, yo, why the fuck is there a beach thing in the middle of the desert? Like, it doesn't even tie in. Like, I don't even understand. Like, what? Why? You know? But anyway, it's business. I respect it.
Yeah, I mean, it's less intrusive. I feel like it's less intrusive than sitting through a 30-second ad. I mean, that's definitely true.
Yeah, that's whack. Like you said earlier, that's what iTunes remember doing right in the middle of the song. Like, I'm done. I'm done. Like, if you literally, if the second verse about to come on and it's like how YouTube do sometimes, and then you sit there, I'm like, nah, son, you just can't. You're hurting the artist, really. You don't understand. Like, they don't understand that music is all about like a consistent flow. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like a movie. A movie has to have flow. It has to have pace. And that's what music is. And the moment you interrupt someone's mood, it's like, fuck it. They're not even going to probably be interested in the song as much as they were before. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that. Like, trust me, I know that. Like, whenever I be watching some shit on YouTube, like, I be playing some records or listening to whatever, and then in the middle of the joint, or not a song, but like it could be like a short show or something, like an interview or something, like one of the Breakfast Club shit or something, and then every time a commercial comes on, I turn it off.
Yeah, you don't finish it. Yeah.
Especially if you can't skip it. Especially if you can't skip it past 5 seconds. I'm like, dog, I'm not waiting 15 seconds or 20 seconds to like. I just get this. I just not get interested. And I kind of don't want that shit to happen to me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you don't want in the middle of the second track, all of a sudden Apple's like, and this track is brought to you by Beats Audio. Oh, you can hear this song perfectly clear.
Or it could just be some kind of weird-ass company and shit. This track is brought to you by Tono Clippers. Like, what the fuck I'm talking about? Oh, shit.
Be a vegetarian. It's like, this track's brought to you by Hamburger.
All right. And I'm talking about Philippe Child on the record. I'm a vegetarian advertisement on the record. Somebody talking about eating steak. It don't make no sense.
Yeah, none of it does.
Well, I mean, you know, eventually, I think everything comes back around. I think in any industry, once it implodes, I think it forces it back to go underground. I think that's why a lot of lyricism is coming back, because it was forced to just go back to the street. Well, underground. That's why you're having a lot of independent artists, and you're having a lot of people just say, fuck that, we're just going to do our thing.
Yeah, and not to, definitely to plug the site, certifiedmag.com, where this interview will be. It's one of the things I wrote about. You know, I was going to actually ask your opinion on this, because one of the articles coming out when the site launches is a State of the Union on hip hop in 2018. You know, not just to look back at 2017, but the way the industry is kind of trending. And you know, you're talking about lyricism, and I took it a step further. I was talking about the art of telling a story, and how that's, you know, you have a few artists that still do it. You know, Kendrick still tells a story. Big Sean, Big Sean tells a story. Like, if you listen to it, like he's pretty much got a theme throughout the whole song. You know, it may be a banger, it may not. You know, even, you know, you can go back as far as like No Moves. Like, the whole thing was about something, you know, and it's about a story. And the Eminems, the Fabulouses, the Jada Kisses, they're not going to keep coming back and, you know, And you can argue whether Eminem's album is good or trash or whatever. I think the second half is better than the first half of the album. But these artists that have a following, that have established the industry, they're not going to keep coming back to save today's hip hop. And my big thing was, I listened to, and I don't know if you've heard it yet, but J.R. Ryder just dropped off an album in December, and I'm sitting there listening to.
Oh, word?
Yeah, and I'm a big fan of his for the last few years.
I did some beats for him before. I worked with him before.
Yeah,
beat shit.
Nah, he's dope, and people don't know he's a Harlem rapper, New York City.
Yeah.
And he's kind of one of those underground, I won't call him an underground legend, but definitely an underground kind of star that people that know, right?
Yeah, he was an underground legend in Harlem.
Yeah, definitely.
In New York.
Definitely.
He's an underground legend in New York.
Most definitely. But as an industry in whole, like, you either know about him or you don't, And
yeah.
And I'm talking about, because like in DC, say J.R. Ryder, most people don't have any idea who he is, But he released a pretty dope album, and the first few tracks, like, just straight lyricism. And I don't know if he was necessarily telling a story with some of them, but it's just that old school mentality. I won't say style of rap, because trap music and whatever other kind of music that's out today is, people buy it, right? People are enjoying it. It's not. I mean, I'm not going to be like somebody like our parents' generation and the parents' generation before that about how music today sucks and blah blah blah. And if people enjoy it, people enjoy it. That's what music's made for. But I will say one of the things that's missing out of hip hop, and I kind of have a little bit of hope because of some of the stuff I've heard towards the end of this year, the end of 2017. Got to keep remembering this is going to come out in 2018, but towards the end of 2017, you hear, especially December, for whatever reason, like, there's been a lot of crazy albums to drop this month. And, Friday on Elm Street, Jada and Fabulous's little mixtape, that was pretty much straight.
That shit made my whole year.
Yeah, that shit was straight from the intro. Like, from the intro, you're like, what?
It was hitting you straight up.
Intro, theme music, like, all this shit. Like, wait. I ain't gonna lie. I thought about trying to make a 30-second clip out of theme music to make it the intro music for this. Until I was able to, like, produce and do a few things on my own. I'm not on your level. But, I'll put together a little something. And then ignore the sirens in the background.
That's cool, man.
It's holiday season. People probably burning down trees, but
you already know.
Yeah, people always want the real tree. But real quick, before I let you go, I kind of want to get your input on this. The art of storytelling, like, where has it gone in hip hop? Like, it doesn't matter what style of music it is. There still has to be a story to kind of draw you in from the beginning of the song to the end of the song. You go back in the day, Slick Rick, everybody remembers running up the stairs, to the top floor, and, everything from Children's Story from the start to the end. And every song back then, LL and all these classic hip hop artists, and even early days of JayZ, like, we knew all about the Marcy Projects, and we knew all about, how he was on the streets through Reasonable Doubt and through, the In My Lifetime series. Yeah, he'd have albums like songs. Yeah. He'd have tracks like Big Pimpin' and stuff like that. But for the most part, there was a story in every single song. Biggie, my God.
Yeah, I mean,
like Biggie, we're still trying to figure out that mystery, even though we think it's Anthony Mason now. But like, there's still, like, the mystery around some of his songs.
You talking about I Got a Story to Tell?
Yeah. A couple people have come out lately and said it was Anthony Mason. I still don't know. I don't know. It's questionable, but yeah.
But nonetheless, I mean, one thing is funny because, all right, I think there's a misconception of what's really popping in hip hop. I really do. And I think that way because I think people think famous is successful. Right. So now if you look at the charts, the motherfuckers that hold down the charts are all storytellers. Kendrick, Cole, Drake, Chance, who else can I say? I'm talking about like people that are going double, triple platinum. You can even, like, honestly, Cardi B, if you really listen to Cardi B old tape, she has storytelling in it. I think that's just probably a New York thing.
I'm not even going to start my rant on Cardi B. I can't even believe that's the track that actually got her successful, but go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, that was kind of like, that's Kodak shit, but all right, whatever.
That was Love and Hip Hop.
Like that
was a bunch of Love and Hip Hop fans, but go ahead.
But I love that, though. I love that. You know what? Because I feel like, man, I swear to God, that like, she's probably the rawest artist right now. I feel so. I feel that way. You know what I mean? There's no mystery with Cardi B.
I'll give her credit. She's the first one to do that without having a feature on it. Like there was no male artist featured on her thing. It was just
There's like she was
her straight for like 4 minutes, like straight up Cardi B. So I'll give her credit for that one most definitely.
So it's like, all right, I kind of have to respect that because I think if a lot of people that approach more instead of dick riding people, there'll be more success. And I do think there's still storytelling. I just think what's popular isn't storytelling. You know what I'm saying? So storytelling is good. It's good. Like, this is the thing. I think within the album, there could be a way that people made albums, like especially in the golden era, right? Like you have your Reed song, you have your girl song, you have your storytelling song, clearly you have your gangster song, and you have probably like a conscious song.
But even the gangster songs back in the day had a story.
Yeah. It don't even matter.
Look at Regulate. Regulate was a story from beginning to end.
Hell yeah. It was. So it's like, I don't understand. It's like, I think people confuse fame. I think people confuse fame for success. You know what I mean? And there's a lot of artists that are not famous that are getting money on the road right now. Worldwide. You know what I'm saying? Like worldwide, there's a lot of artists like Tech Nine, for example, Tech out in the Bay, right? Yeah. Everybody, clearly, everybody be like, yo, Tech Nine. I'm like, yo, all right. And then I've always been into Tech Nine, but it's like I've never been into the music. I just kind of like to see the business moves he did, right? So
most definitely, that dude's genius. When it comes to business,
and
genius.
I'm like, yo, fuck yeah. And I'm like, I read an article one time, and they was ranking the top grossing motherfucker, and he was number 1. He was not even. He's not a trendy. He's not even trending on Twitter. Nah, but the motherfucker earned more. So I'm like, yo, all right, well, what the fuck is going on here? To which where Technology is not particularly popularly famous, right? Like we know, people know. But he's been in the game for a minute, right? But he didn't attack it that way. And what people don't understand is you don't have to leave California to go platinum. It's too big. It's so big that you don't have to leave California to go platinum. That's why a lot of West Coast artists really, they don't really need sites to go to the East Coast really or anywhere else. They're like, yo, we have a whole big ass state. We have the Northern California, Southern California. That's a lot of people. 2 different sides. And if you could get popular in California, you go platinum. That's why a lot of West Coast artists don't really bother with a lot of corny shit. For real.
I mean, it doesn't have to be California, though. Like, you go back further in the day. I mean, P did that in New Orleans.
New Orleans, Texas.
Yeah, I mean, but if you look at, Master P, like he built that whole empire by himself. And he was, like you said with Tech Nine, he was one time, like, the top of the money-making chain because he wasn't sharing those profits with anybody.
Anybody, that's just straight to him. You know what I mean? And it's like, all right. I mean, like all of these people, we've seen all of these examples, and people still make the same mistakes. It's like sickening. I'm like, yeah, you ain't see like Burt Banner, like you ain't see Master P, like Rockefeller, like you don't think that's how the shit should be going, so you could say what you want on your record? Like, come on, man. That's why hip hop at a point in time wasn't raw. It was very saturated because motherfuckers can't really say or talk how they want to talk. You know what I'm saying? It's like, but then they sell themselves short by going for the bag, quote unquote. I'm like, but yo, that's like, come on, man. Like, what bag? Like, how much bag are you getting really to not do what you're supposed to, like, what naturally you're supposed to be doing? Like, how much bag is that? Like, come on, man. But it's all relative at the end of the day, anyway. So it's not a thing of. So I think that's the prize. It's just motherfuckers are rather go for the. I don't know.
Well, I think I've taken enough of your time, man. Sheik, thank you so much. Episode 1. Like I said, we go back 10 years or so. So
10 years, yeah.
So me and this dude, we go way back. Man, thank you so much. You're gonna be hopefully, God willing, hopefully you'll be a trivia answer one day. But like, who was the first Sheik Kargbo. Oh, damn. Yeah.
Inshallah, man. I swear to God. But, you know, man, it's all about grinding. Like, you know, you've always set up on me over the years. Even when, like, you always try to throw things and, like, yo, you should talk to this person, talk to that person. And I've always been appreciative of that. Like, you always randomly just pop up and like, yo, what up?
You know, it's all this and this you got to do. It's all about reputation too. I'll be 100 with you. It's all about reputation because I wouldn't put you on if I didn't think it was worth it. Like if you weren't doing what you were supposed to do, and you know, like anybody. I mean, I don't love 100% of your tracks, but I don't think 100% of your tracks are meant for every single person. You know, like you have music for everybody, which is, you know, insane. And you know, some people are going to love these tracks. Some people are going to love those tracks. And some people will just fuck with all of them, which is awesome. You know, that's that, like you said, that's straight love. But I've respected your hustle. I've respected your grind. I've respected that your music is damn good. Like, let's just cut the bullshit. Like, it's stuff that if I didn't know you, I would still fuck with. And that's why I put you on. That's why I definitely, you know, shout you out, you know, to my following, to the people I know in the industry. And, you know, I'll continue to do that because I believe in you.
Definitely appreciate that, brother.
You know, I believe in you. And we definitely need to catch up more often. I definitely want to have you back, you know, especially after the new music.
It, man. Whatever you need, man. If you want me to make the theme music, let me know. I'll send that over.
Yeah, especially after the new music.
Cinematic beat or whatever.
And I got one. You wait till you hear this shit. I think I'm gonna even impress you with this one. I'm probably gonna impress you with this one. Yeah, but definitely, man. Want to have you back on, like after the new music drops, after some of the stuff you get going, maybe in the spring or something. We can get you on and keep people up to date and everything, man. But thank you so much for coming on episode 1.
For sure, it's a pleasure, man. Appreciate you for having me, man.
All right, bro, man. I'm in the West Coast, so it's a little bit early for him out there, so I'll let him go. Ladies and gentlemen.
I woke up I was up like till 3 a.m. to 3 or 4 a.m. That's why.
For those that don't know, we recorded this interview at like noon on Eastern time, so it's a little bit early for the man. But thank you so much, man. Cool. I will talk to you later.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it, brother.
All right, man. You have a good one. Thank you.
Thank you.